At least then, I guess they're trying to get. No, I mean,
no, he's just playing.
They already have
Maokai stuff. It's a Kaisa.
But I do hope that we see an AD carry right here.
The old Aphelios.
There you go.
Okay,
all right, QTC.
Damn.
She called it right, not me.
Well, I just copied Raz. But no, I called that. I knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Annie mid.
Oh,
wait, it's not locked.
It's not locked. Stop getting excited.
Interesting though. We saw it in LCK from Bulldog. If I remember correctly.
Yes, you are right.
He's really good, by the way. It just doesn't fit.
Would you blind it though? No.
I mean, into Aphelios with no Thresh, like you could probably just one-shot him. Like
Or you could take Sylas and get 2 sick ultimates from Maokai and Nautilus.
Literally, Sylas is the freest pick into Maokai, but into Maokai Nautilus is even better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Sylas is the pick.
And if I'm IMT right now, I think the 2 champions that would kind of round out the draft, just ignoring 4 or 5 bans, would be Azir and GP, the decent one. Top side, obviously, we're going to see. Or Gnar, actually Gnar. The Gnar game from Revenge was quite good, so that's an option if they go for an ideal draft for them.
So obviously this is a lot of pro-focused bans, but
I'd like to
UTC,
see.
as the representative of the low elo, as you say, that is most of our audience. What do you think is the go-to bans right now when you play?
Oh, I mean, you gotta ban Teemo.
If our EG don't ban Teemo here, they're in trouble.
Guys, be careful. You better ban Teemo.
Or the psychopath champions, Katarina.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Yes, I wasn't banned. Are you kidding?
No, I can't believe it.
I can't believe it.
Unplayable.
Oh my god, he actually brain controlled them into the set ban with the hover by AblazeOlive. The mind control techniques.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're just afraid. I remember last split in summer where we saw the set into Sylas and it was just depressing to see Sylas play. Like, sure, you get access to his ulti, but in laning phase is really difficult, but I wouldn't be too afraid of that.
AblazeOlive does have a pretty flexible champion pool. He played the TK mid, he's played a bunch of weird stuff, and if you were worried about that, Jojopyun is a master of the set mid himself. He would know that this is something he doesn't want to play into.
Yeah, double jungle ban though, with Maokai being picked, and they're pinching Inspired down to something that we might not have seen that much of this year. I guess Wukong is, that's really good against Aphelios.
Yeah. Especially
and I feel so Tactical is really good at Aphelios. This does not look like a great angle. That's why you see Aphelios Thresh, Aphelios Tahm Kench, because he's so vulnerable, and when you pick him that early without protection, the other team can just pick a bunch of dive. We'll see. We'll see.
On the bright side, based on these picks, I'm feeling pretty good about my EG. Not to be that person, but
They're definitely getting what they want. And for IMT, it seems like their choice is to play towards bot lane. If you have Nautilus Aphelios, it would be really troll to play away from it. So blind pick Renekton is going to be the call here for Revenge. For mid, I think Azir is just the go-to. It's just the best pick for AblazeOlive. It's his control mage. And you can at least have range within your comp to provide more space for Aphelios.
Yeah, I mean, they have 3 frontliners.
Oh, Ryze.
Potentially Ryze.
Okay.
Ryze is good into Sylas, and also will,
match side lane.
Yeah.
All that
True.
stuff.
Also, if you remember, I mean, Olive did have that pop-off. I keep thinking of that pop-off Ryze game against Bjergsen.
Oh,
He
yes,
really
last
wanted
year.
to beat Bjergsen, so that's kind of like a cool pick for him.
Yeah, and it's good. It's just good gank setup as well for Maokai overall. So it seems like Jojopyun's going to be another target, and we get another Sion pick. So.
I'm so sad Sion is back in the meta.
Emily and Mark are
Both
like,
just inhale. Oh my god, I hate the Sion Cho'Gath. Like, it's cool one time, like yesterday for the TSM FlyQuest game. If Sion is just one of the staple picks, 5th pick Sion is just, oh no.
I really love EG's draft.
Yeah, same.
I really love their draft. It's so easy to play front to back. Sylas could at least play on, he can match on side lanes, but he's not going to really be doing much. But their team fight is so impressive. Lulu, Sion, Wukong, with a Zeri behind you.
am I crazy, or does it feel like all the pressure on Immortals is going to be on tactical?
I see a little bit of the yes.
He's getting dove a lot this
That's
year.
how I feel. That's how I feel looking at this. I'm nervous for him. It feels like everything else around him needs to protect him, and I don't know if they'll be able to do it.
There's a lot to be afraid of.
To defy the odds, we'll have to see how it all goes down as evil geniuses as a collective make their way downtown.
And remember, the most important thing about this game is that Revenge has a good time because he's going to come cast with us next game.
Yes.
So, let's
I
hope.
didn't know if that was known or not. Now I'm sitting here thinking like, oh gosh, there's an angle to want an Immortals win for the good vibes, but he's also such a pro.
Honestly, you don't even have to win the game as long as you have a really good individual performance. So, maybe we want big things from this crocodile, baby. Raise this crocodile up.
So EG fans, if you could do us a favor, I'm not gonna change you from wanting EG to win, but just say, hey, can you make revenge have a good looking time?
On Ssumday's 400th game, LCS career long.
Woo!
Impressive stuff for him. He was the first person inducted into the 100 Thieves Hall of Fame, and then before moving on to Evil Geniuses, of course, but really impressive career he has had so far in the LCS. Happy to see that milestone hit already. As for this game, though, since we are catching up on the analysts pick and ban here, AblazeOlive has been one of the Immortals players with a huge spotlight on him. People have been wondering, you know, he had a great breakout split for himself and has kind of bounced around since then. People really hoping to see that light really shine through. So versus Sylas here with Jojo, obviously he's trying to pick up every single CS. Jojo dropping one, sad cat. But Ablaze gonna try and get as much harassment out early and really abuse that health bar of Jojo to see if they can get some of those Ryze plays to the other side. When you've got a Nautilus in your bottom lane, that Nautilus is just dying to go in at any chance, over and over. Please let me kill this Lulu. That is what's going through Fleshy's head. And so if you get Ryze down there, if you get Maokai down there to make that Nautilus happy, then your team is gonna be happy.
And we've seen evidence of that spotlight, of that pressure on AblazeOlive in his play, wanting to make the plays work even when they're in the deficit. This week, having a hard week against FlyQuest and C9, still trying to take on the 1v3 with just a little bit of difference, could have went in an opposite direction. So you hope that he still has that resolve when going forward in this matchup against EG, where EG, yes, they're 6-2. Yes, they are definitely a strong team in the eyes of many. They've still had their little wavery moments that you can try and pry open if you're on the side of Immortals.
All right, so there's the first push of the game. AblazeOlive is going to go for the recall off his first minion wave, getting Jojo under tower. Jojo immediately minion dematerializer, try and counter shove it right back out, and match. So Ablaze on his first back, got his tier money. So you're looking for to stack up as quickly as possible on Ryze. So gets his early tier off that hard shove, loses out on 2 melees.
Oh!
Gets the third, nice.
Boom stats, AblazeOlive making his way back to the mid lane. And I do want to keep eyes on that call out you made as well, on how Fleshy on this Nautilus can set up with those dredge lines to allow people like Tactical, like AblazeOlive, to punish upon these squishies on the EG side.
And it looks like as of now, we get the reset for Inspired coming back out with a double long sword, extra attack damage, and Kenvi finishes up on top side Scuttle. So it looks like bottom side Scuttle probably will be sacrificed over to Evil Geniuses. They really want to keep this. Again, big thing for EG, keep other roamers out of our bottom lane. Let our Zeri Lulu have an easy lane, unharassed versus this melee support. And Vulcan gonna come with Inspired. Lulu, we've seen the potency of the Lulu polymorphs in some of these ganks towards mid, but Ablaze is at the exact same time using his push time to roam up towards top side instead. Maybe he too is trying to set up revenge for a good cast next game.
AblazeOlive on the Ryze means for sure looking for those angles across the entirety of the map. One of the mid laners noted for doing so.
And so I want to point out these wards that were just left behind when you get to meet up with your jungler plus support. Deep Vision, the name of the game for Evil Geniuses. They got Scuttle Crab plus the 2 red side jungle wards. Full information. Trying to protect that bottom lane, trying to play around it pretty defensively, and interesting control ward left off by Fleshy. It is right there behind the blue buff in this little blue buff brush, but it's instant. Oh, he just passes by it. Doesn't quite walk into the brush there. Thought that was going to be the shortest control word life of all time. Only a few seconds, but he passes right by it. And so that ward gives some value for Immortals. Saw the monkey the whole time.
Yep, and with it being a control and nothing other than that, EG might have quite some time until he revisits back towards that way to clear that out. I think that when you're looking over at that bot side, that's something that you have to count for, jungler intervention.
Yeah, and getting double vision of both junglers down on bottom side actually does benefit both these solo laners. You know, Renekton trying to use that opportunity, knowing he can't get ganked right now, to push in on Ssumday. Ssumday with some good Q charges here, though. Doing quite nice for himself, actually.
And it is important to watch how Revenge does on this Renekton. I found it really interesting, a discussion on the dive, the one that you weren't a part of because Ben was there, how they were talking about Revenge and how he is a formidable top laner and sometimes around the team's success doesn't always get the credit for what he is able to do in that lane. So you want to look at the moments where he can really show out and be a powerful point for this squad.
Yeah, both Sven and Fudge have had some kind words for Revenge. Obviously, the Cloud9 group, maybe some successful Immortal scrims against them have influenced that. During this, though, Evil Geniuses, of course, you saw the entire setup on your screens. They're able to pull the dragon, leash it out to the edge of the dragon pit, even though it is in vision. Being able to use all of this focus on bottom side with repeated vision attempts here from EG. Get themselves the first dragon and get a gank.
The response over the wall by FBI and the polymorph sets up some good damage onto Fleshy, but Tactical has enough distance to not give over a death.
All right, the first attempt at a Sylas roam here from Jojo. Trying to go down that pathway through the bottom side river. Getting a little bit of safety eliminated from the Immortal side. AblazeOlive again. He keeps looking top side. I was thinking more in this game was going to be bot, but they're going for the Sion.
And Ssumday's got a couple escape mechanisms, whether it be the ultimate or the flash, manages to defend himself against IMT.
And honestly, I think Evil Geniuses are pretty happy that there is focus from Immortals towards the top side rather than trying to combat their defense on bottom side. Ssumday here answers flashes with Kenvi. That's a great trade for EG. Yeah, they lost one turret plate, got credit there for Revenge, but Ssumday got right back into experience range really quickly, still gets most of the minions, and he's Sion versus Renekton. Like, this early game, even though it's 0-0-0, like, this is going really well for Evil Geniuses, I must say. With the Maokai and the Ryze both showing top two, you have to think about not just the play that happened in front of your face, but the opportunity cost, what they could have done, you know, with roaming mid, with jungle. They're going to use it now to transition into this Rift Herald, but EG also have their whole bottom lane coming.
Dredgeline route and more directly onto Jojo, the hijacked ultimate. Oh my goodness.
Ssumday doesn't have teleport or ultimate though, so it's going to take a while for the Sion to get here. So EG know we're 4v5, got to give it up, and Immortals will get an objective in this game.
Okay, so after EG getting that early pressure on bot side and picking up that first dragon around 646, now Immortals answering on the top side, acquiring that Rift Herald for themselves, keeping themselves in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, when Sion, no teleport, used it to get back out the lane last time, and then ultimate was burned in the attempt on the dive there. Meant that Ssumday, the big front line, won't be able to arrive in time, and Immortals jump on the timing window here quite nicely. See where Kenvi actually takes it, because Inspired's looking for a gank.
And Revenge moving forward for the lock, moving
Good
back with
flash.
the flash. Just in time, good timing from Revenge to hold off over on that top side with EG. I do want to know your thoughts on Sion coming in though, considering what the desk was saying.
Sion, definitely a super good tank right now, especially because there have been a lot of mono-type comps that they've been playing against. But I really want to highlight how good of a flash that was. Burning Wukong, flash, and ultimates here on the gank. Very good, quick reactions from Revenge, not dropping to that. Is one of the biggest offensive tools that EG actually have in this mid game. Without that, without Wukong, flash, and ultimate, all the other lanes just breathing a big sigh of relief there. And we'll have to see if Revenge is, in the end, actually punished for not having his flash up here on Renekton or not, but it's gonna be up to the roam timer.
Does seem to be holding his own very well. That ward down in Riverside means that they've been keeping an eye on whether Jojo is going to be making movement towards that top side. Immortals granted the opportunity to drop their Rift Herald down bot. We know the advantages that EG are wanting to build up in those future carries, and Immortals want to offset it.
Yeah, I'd say Immortals now, because again, I'm looking at them to be the ones to try and push this game forward. Try and use a roam timer towards Tactical. This is a Gale Force completed Aphelios. I want to see some action down there. You picked Nautilus. Make some plays You've got the tools to do it.
Two sides to that coin. The tools to do it for Immortals to make these plays with Tactical. Also, I'm sure a little bit of some care to be had by them as we extend into later portions of the game, worrying about picks like the Wukong, who can dive upon him, and being careful as possible.
Yeah, because anytime you're in a game like this, you got to evaluate who's actually going to win us this game. And from Immortals' side, you could say it's either Ryze or Aphelios. There's probably not a world where Renekton, unless it's one of these crazy games where he's actually legendary, is going to, in the end, win you the game. Because that EG comp is so crazy hard for Renekton to teamfight into, that's not your way for victory. So get Tactical super rich or get Ablaze super rich so that he can start roaming around.
Oh, revenge between a Sion and a hard place, with Inspired upon him as well. First blood for Jojo.
Oh, that's actually a beautiful place to put the kill credit too. But with EG showing 3 members up on the top side, it's kind of the reverse situation. So Tactical and Fleshy get some more turret plate money for themselves. Pretty happy with that. And Kenvi tries to start up this dragon, but it might get countered. Inspired and Jojo are on the way.
AblazeOlive here for the defense, but they do have to be wary about being collapsed upon. Managed to finish it off, so even dragon split with the second one being picked up here by Immortals.
Honestly, so far this game, I feel like everyone who's going top is losing. Whoever stays on bottom side and gets the extra stuff out of bottom side feels pretty good. Yes, good kill for Evil Geniuses, getting the Renekton down, punishing him having no flash, but that did leave the window open for a dragon plus some turret plate money for the Aphelios, which is one of the ones you're worried about. Sion ultimate though from Ssumday from downtown, curving along the edge pretty closely, but really it's just about bringing the other members. The importance of those roam timers, mid, jungle, makes that play happen. And this time the Wukong ultimate does kill the crocodile.
So a good setup over on the top side that Evil Geniuses was able to acquire first blood with. But to your point, Kobe, I feel like there has been a bit of leaning towards top side in the 2 games so far, including this one. But yeah, when looking towards those carries, players like Tactical, when thinking back to his debut in the LCS, right? I believe it was on Aphelios that he made some of the flashiest plays. Aphelios, Callisto, when you're thinking about the peaks at which he can perform. And now Immortals need to do what they can as they extend later on to be able to protect that win condition against the mounting and ever stronger Zeri over time.
Yeah, and we get the completion for the Rod of Ages now for AblazeOlive. So start the timer. Meanwhile, it's already 3 stacks in deep here for Jojo on the Sylas, who was the one who got the first blood money as well. So really mid lane here. It's starting to look like we've missed some of the really big windows on the side of Immortals. And I want to see if Jojo's able to get vision of Kenvi, steal that ultimate. Impact Ssumday down here, though. I don't know why, but he's just attracting so much attention. He's just chilling playing a Sion, okay? Farming away.
Sion, big guy, hard to miss. Everyone wants to go take a peek.
Oh, nice little sweep here towards mid, though.
Meanwhile, the rest of EG here to get the play on mid. Flashy over the wall. Flash and actually, and Inspire having to flash out as well with the wild growth upon him. Tactical getting low and in the center of Evil Geniuses. The rest of the team is here to try and punish, but it's a 1-for-1 trade so far. FBI getting himself the heck out of there, expelling all of his summoners before he can more damage. Wicked swing from Revenge with the crocodile goes down. Missed chain lash from Jojo onto AblazeOlive. News that he can dish it back as well, but now the retreat from the remainder of Evil Geniuses.
It looked really cool, flashing in for a giant Q plus gore drinker there from Revenge. But the Maokai and the Nautilus, I just used all their spells so that there is no follow-up damage from them. And I think there was just like one Q from the Ryze, so there was no follow-up on it. Did look cool, kind of trying to drain tank in all 4 of them. In the end, EG just bought enough time for Ssumday on the side ultimate to come in, split them up. And you'll take a look at the communication here. So initially, they go in on Nautilus. Nice hook there from Fleshy, buffers it a bit, so he's still able to get to the Raptor Pit and flash over. Then Tactical goes all in. You can tell he's been waiting this whole game. He's like, we got Nautilus bomb side. I want to make a play. He had the Gale Force. He goes all the way in, flash and Gale Force, then trades the 1-for-1. But then looking for the really big play. There's no other follow-up damage. It's just the Renekton. And so Evil Geniuses, even though all 4 get hit, they still are able to kite out, especially the Zeri here wasn't really under any follow-up kill threat damage. And so they just spread out, focus back down the Renekton, chase him on the outside, and EG kind of passing one of those really big markers for us to get towards this middle stage of the game. I was excited though. You're looking for blood boiling plays here from Tactical. That was he really wanted that kill, and he got it.
You know those running things where you're running in place and you can hook onto the back, so you're just like running, and if somebody were to let you go, you just snap off. You know what I'm talking about?
For training, yeah.
Training. I feel like Tactical's on that, but actually we get some action here in the mid as we have the Rift Herald dropped onto the turret, and ult for ult. The root onto Fleshy again, trying to knock up in response and revenge. How much can he pull from EG right now? Jojo has to get out of it with the flash and more. FBI setting his sights onto AblazeOlive, who eventually pops, and Tactical in the center of all of EG once again ends up falling. Kenvi knows that Inspired is on his tail, so Revenge was waiting on the opposite side of the pit to be able to hop on. And Vulcan now has to back up. Ssumday, EG, the rest of them just trying to trade the opportunity to get the last hit onto Kenvi, but can't quite do it. They did get 3 though.
Yeah, Evil Geniuses, after the last fight, now knowing there's nothing left on the Aphelios, no Ghost, no Flash, no Gale Force, they're able to power through on this river fight, even with all of those Chakrams stacked up on the white gun for Aphelios. I was thinking he's going to chop somebody down. Nice little flash from Jojo, though. He escaped, got down low, flashed defensively to escape with his life, allow the rest of the members of EG to then push down, grab the kills, and get their rewards in the aftermath. I think from here on out, it should be pretty controlled from Evil Geniuses. And so, it's up to Immortals to disrupt that control that EG have over this game. And it's going to have to be some really risky plays for them to do that.
It shows how impactful those fights in the center of the map can be. Immortals getting some crash and some movement for themselves, but EG winning out on the fight means that they can get the second Drake, third of the game overall thus far, and put that gold lead into higher, more oppressive territory slowly but surely. Jojo locking onto AblazeOlive on his top side. We knew that Ssumday was coming in with a teleport. They are looking for the kill onto AblazeOlive, who knows that Kenvi is nearby as well, but there's not enough to be said. A delayed ultimate thrown out from Kenvi, and the remainder of EG keeping their focus over on mid.
Yep, you can see even the attempt for split pushing now for the Ryze gets chopped down so quickly. Nice little teleport there from Ssumday. And Jojo hits the E2 chains on Ablaze. It's always the mind game. Are you going to dodge backwards or are you going to not dodge at all? Jojo calls it. Ablaze gets interrupted off his Realm Warp, and that's going to be very nice rewards here for Jojo. Solo tower gold. He is quite a rich Sylas, and already 8 stacks on the Rod of Ages. Going to get that bonus level soon. Feeling very nice. Shadow Flame as well, I'm assuming. Yep, there it is. So he's got the flat bend Sylas going too. Now the Renekton's under attack.
Yeah, you can see just how much stronger EG have gotten in recent memory. Revenge now caught in the crosshairs of multiple. A bit of that sustain working out for him, but can't finish anything off. Just look at EG looking so strong.
Yeah, you could tell there he was looking around. There's 3 champions around him. He's like, all right, I can't kill any of these champions, but maybe I can kill this cannon minion. And he tries to go for the stun on the cannon minion, try and finish it off and get some gold, but he couldn't even finish the cannon minion. So rough there for Immortals.
Oh, a little bit of a face-off. FBI coming in hard with the ultimate in tow. Dredge line directly on him, and Inspire tries to separate the entirety of this fight. Knock up and more onto Nautilus. Fleshy goes down. FBI, the subject of the wild growth, once more hops back over the wall, and enough space created between the remainder of IMT.
Wow, Vulcan there with the shield on Inspired as the Ignite is ticking on him, denying the only possible kill there for Immortals. They really wanted that one, really needed it. Ssumday might be looking towards this Aphelios pretty far up.
Coming on in, unstoppable is all heck. A little edge hit onto Tactical, but Tactical made it towards his turret in time.
Yeah, he made it toward his turret, and now again, no flash, no Gale Force. What a value little hover by Ssumday. I mean, he's just waiting around in the brush by river, gets both mobility tools off of this Aphelios, and then you see that realm warp on the bottom of your screen, and Ssumday just walks over. He's like, I dare you. Please, somebody step inside. Please arrive. No one actually does, and it is EG kind of removing any of these possible tools for Immortals to even, dream for one of those successful fights. Now that the Aphelios is again no mobility at all, it is going to be super rough for them to achieve it. He does have his Lord Doms complete though, so hopefully for them they'll be able to chop down.
Now Revenge on the retreat again, slicing and dicing away, slowed as all heck, flashes out. Another ult trade here across the mid lane. But it really does feel like EG are dictating the movement of Immortals. That window in which a surprise realm warp or something can be impactful is closing.
Ooh, and I was hoping that Ablaze, for Immortals' sake, would be able to get the local gold off of that top tower, but they saw EG rotating from mid lane, and he knew if he went for that, if he greeted for it, he would die. And so they don't get the local gold off of it, but they do get it at least. 50 gold per member of the team, and he's still...
Oh, flash back on the attack. EG won't stop that. AblazeOlive goes down. I feel like so many members of Immortals right now are just like, come on, man, I'm just in the jungle. I just want to get one thing.
I do feel that. He gave up on trying to get the local gold of the tower, and he was like, fine, I'll just go get a Grump.
Yeah.
Nope, doesn't get the local gold, doesn't get the Grump either. Actually, the Grump is dead, I don't even know. Baron, though, is under attack. Immortals, pray!
EG on it, Jojo over the wall, into the center he goes. FBI ulting once again, and Fleshy still just the first to fall, going into stasis. Jojo keeps himself into the fight, and Kenvi is the next isolated target. A big blast of damage onto FBI by Tactical. But luckily for EG, the melees managed to put themselves into the center of the fight. Teleport coming in from Immortals. That's some heavy damage onto Ssumday. Passive ultimately pops up, and the rest of EG do retreat, trading one.
See, that is the goal for Immortals. That right there, they almost had that overwhelming team fight off of Tactical. Imagine if he had his Gale Force or his Flash here, the YouTube highlight play, Aphelios takeover, in the defense of this Baron. It's a 4v5 for Immortals, so they're just gonna go ham, engage on EG, try and get them off. Good Nautilus ultimate, got the double knock up there, and then Jojo's able to stopwatch after they get the first kill onto him, but he gets chunked out really well. And then Tactical, Gale Force in, that was what had the big part of the burst damage onto FBI. And then they can chase down the front line after chunking out the DPS. He does have his Lord Doms. They can burn through the Sion. He is not... Okay, EG right back at it. Here's round 2, baby.
Making their way, IMT in the vicinity, but most of them are located over towards the mid lane. EG very aware of that, burning down the Baron to get the Red Bull Baron buff in tow. And I think those are those moments when you're looking at, Tactical almost was able to kill off FBI. Earlier Revenge went, and then he got some heavy damage, but he's not the one to finish him off. And they really stack up in the minds of Immortals, who are just saying, we just need to finish a few at the start to be able to collapse upon the rest. But Ssumday always coming in right at the nick of time to absorb anything else. A dredge line attempt there on FBI, but it's not found. Yeah,
good Hex Flash look, but what's the punish look like from EG?
The punish is some heavy damage onto Revenge with a teleport right beneath his feet, and lockdown Immortals exiting over across Riverside. But look how fast Jojo is. Look how fast the rest of the team is. Inspired cutting off the rest of IMT, and Fleshy again separated from the squad. Into the pit he goes, giving his life alongside AblazeOlive here. And Immortals are on the retreat again.
Yeah, looks like the rest of them will survive, but that is 2 in the dirt, and it's a Baron buff on EG. So it's just about how many towers can they get as their reward.
Looks like a tier 2 mid is one way to continue to crack things open for Evil Geniuses. Over a minute and a half left on this buff. And Immortals, that's the thing when you're finding these fights over in the jungle, you try to go for the play, and EG is immediately responding. Hey, we see your attempt at getting that dredge line. It didn't hit, so now let's turn this on you.
Yeah. You can tell the reasoning from Immortals. even though it's a risky play, like those are the ones you have to do to get back in the game. Your only hope is, surprise, we got Zeri, boom, insta-kill, and try and get that bounty. After that doesn't work, you know, all right, now we're gonna be in for some pain. We missed, everyone just scramble, run for your lives. EG chasing down 2 and getting 2 towers is just piling even more on, almost up to 9,000 gold. But, you know, the plan from Immortals doesn't really change. They know they have a very difficult time fighting into this team. The later it gets even worse and worse. The scaling is definitely not in their favor. And so you have to just keep on hoping for those dream Hail Mary, Hex Flash, try and kill a Zeri or try and get a bounty off of Jojo too. Those 2 carries are supremely dangerous, but also very rewarding if you can get a surprise kill on them.
And it is so difficult to anticipate how you are going to achieve that surprise kill when you think not just about the initial initiation, but we talked about Vulcan earlier, how the shield onto Inspired was such good timing. We sometimes overlook the pressure of these supports as they go and make this pressure onto the bot side. Sion ultimate coming in unstoppable once again, multiple roots from Jojo. Revenge, Dominus activated, backing up towards his fountain. The knock-up onto Ssumday and getting a lot of damage from Tactical, who throws out his ultimate as well onto Evil Geniuses. No kills acquired, and the inhibitor was taken by Evil Geniuses as well, getting the objectives that they came for.
Yeah, dishing out a good amount of damage, and Tactical still fishing around. He now has both summoners up, so now he's looking for a possible Gale Force play, but they're unable to chase any member of EG into a poor position. No opening for him. So not gonna be any extra gold scrounged up. If they could get him up to Infinity Edge, then you can dream that win con right back up for Immortals. So they're still hoping. Never give up, never surrender. If we can get Tactical to IE, maybe they can deliver the 200 years experience.
Right there, right there. I can imagine the feeling that Tactical is feeling in his seat, thinking if I can just finish some of them off. But we'll have to see what he can do with the Gale Force active and beyond from the rest of the squad as EG keep their focus over onto this top side now. A teleport ushered in from Immortal to try and give some assistance to AblazeOlive, but Ablaze does go down, and Revenge looks like he's trying to stagger in as well. Kenvi coming through with the ultimate, gets the root onto 1, trying to follow up onto multiple, but FBI is also into the later game, is also in a strong spot. Jojo making that face at them to cause Immortals to retreat again with this wave coming down for EG, keeping such control over this map.
There is a dragon with an objective bounty on it on the map, so EG can't get too risky here. Even though Jojo, he's always down to go for some aggressive plays. Just lets Tactical know he's been holding on to that Nautilus ultimate for a while. It's about to time out. Pop it on him, but nobody going to overextend too much. You don't want to let Immortals get an objective bounty shut down and you know, something crazy get back into this game. So they get their reset off for EG and rotate right on back over to that dragon. They should be able to zone out Immortals.
No vision for Immortals anywhere in sight on the dragon, and with the absence of icons on their screen, they know where EG are likely settling themselves upon this dragon now for Soul Point. They've been splitting them thus far. And Immortals, because they can't get into a position to extend into their jungle, to establish the vision, to try and contest any of these objectives, they're still looking for those surprise openings for these fights.
Yep, and here we go. EG, 1-4. They've got super minions on bottom side, so they don't have to go bottom lane at all. 4 members mid, 1 member top. Jojo gonna deal with this wave, rotate everybody over as well. They're just gonna scrounge up a couple of extra wards here. Meanwhile, Immortals, they're trying to hold off those super minions. AblazeOlive, you see him running as far as he can. If he can kill off, another wave of that, buy themselves 30 more seconds. That is a little bit of extra money, a little bit of extra lifetime. EG though, they're making the call. There's not even a chance you come over sniffing around our Baron. 10,000 gold lead, full vision throughout the entire jungle leading up to the Baron. So Immortals will try and huddle inside their base.
Yep, Evil Geniuses finishing off the Baron to push their gold lead once again over that 10K mark, now at 11.3K. And Immortals They were so far pushed. Yeah, no angle to take, no vision over on that top side either. Couldn't make any of the distance. Instead, AblazeOlive spent some time trying to push that wave bot. They want to offset the supers that have been going against them all this time, and now they have to worry about purple.
Worry about purple indeed, because that cuts right through the towers. Inspired just kind of threatening here. Stolen ultimate will zone them out and
get the root onto a couple, and really EG, they're going for those objectives. They're getting the next inhibitor down on this top side. They had this cannon wave coming mid as well. Revenge having to swiftly rotate to match Jojo, who finishes off the tower. And now Revenge on the retreat. Evil Geniuses don't see any reason to stop applying the pressure now. Full team in effect. Waves coming their way. Still 2 minutes left on this Baron buff. They're feeling pretty good for the fight.
they certainly are. With 3 inhibitors, 2 for EG already killed, they can just wait around. Time is in your favor. Just wait for the big reinforcements of your super minions. Double stacked up super minions, buffing each other in all 3 lanes. All you have to do at this point is stare at Immortals. Stare at them until the Nexus turrets die.
Get the eye drops at the ready for that staring contest, and EG feel good about coming up on top if they go for the matchup, but Immortals now funneled under their turret, seeing if they can make the last stand. It's so difficult, though, when you have to worry about the supers. The double up of supers that's about to eventually be a threat, but and then that inhibitor on the bot side does come up. They finish it off again. But Kobe, for EG, coming through with the dominance performance thus far. FBI into gold. He goes a stun up onto Jojo and more, but IMT, look at those HP bars go down, down, down again. Revenge, one more slap, a triple kill for FBI. Tactical and Fleshy, the bot lane, only one standing, but EG supremacy through against Immortals.
Look at that! A deathless JoJo game. Actual control from the Evil Geniuses. Control all game long from the Evil Geniuses. Neither carry got killed, JoJo or FBI. Fully stacked bounties on their heads. Massive, massive stuff from them. Nicely snowballed as well. They avoided any possible offensive play from Immortals on the bottom side of the map. Attention to the Scuttle Crabs, warding deep into that red side jungle for Immortals. And so they were never really under a lot of threat to how their team